Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to an extremely warm Racice in the Czech Republic and the final day of the second ICF Canoe Sprint World Cup of 2016, where the world's top athletes are looking to make their mark on the international stage with just 2.5 months to go till the start of the Olympic Games in Rio. We have a packed programme of racing for you this morning. We're starting off with the B finals, and the first one on course will be in the 200 metres, actually the C final of the men's K1 200, followed by the B final of the men's K1 200. Then after that, we'll be staying with 200s for the B final of the men's C1 200. Following that, we'll be moving to the 500 metre start line with the C and B finals of the women's K1 500 metres. Then we'll have the B final of the men's C1 500, followed by the C final of the men's K1 500 metres. Then we'll have a short break before we move into the A finals, where there'll be a huge number of medals up for grabs. A lot of big names out on the course this morning in the A finals, and plenty of excitement to look out for, not least in the women's K1 500 metres, where we have an amazing lineup. Look out for you. We've got Ina Osipenko-Radomska from Azerbaijan, Olympic champion in 2008, a world champion in 2010, and really getting back to her peak. She won bronze in Duisburg last week. Also alongside her will be Rachel Cawthorne from Great Britain. She's a two-time European bronze medalist in that event, in the K1 500, and an ever-present in that progressing GB women's K4 that's been pushing for medals for some years. Also in the women's K1 500, we'll have Bridget Hartley from South Africa, the Olympic bronze medalist as well. And as you can see there, that is the timetable for the A finals, which get underway just after 9:30 this morning, in just over an hour's time. Also to look out for in the A finals, we have the men's K1 200 metres, and what a lineup we have. We have Liam Heath from Great Britain, the fastest qualifier in that one, Olympic bronze medalist in K2 200 at London 2012. He'll be lining up alongside the four-time K1 200 metre world champion Ronald Rauer from Germany, and also the reigning Olympic champion, also from Great Britain, Ed McKeever is there, and it's looking like a very exciting men's K1 200 metres. The reigning world champion Mark de Jong of Canada, it will be in lane 3, so that's going to be a big race, as is the men's C2000, where Sebastian Brendel will be pairing up with Jan van Drey also from Germany. And Brendel, of course, won gold in the C1 1000 metres yesterday. Completely unbeatable in the C1. They'll be gunning for medals as well in the C2000. But first of all, on course, we have the men's K1 200 metres C final just starting to line up, just completing their warm-up just above the 200 metre mark, and that's going to get underway in about 3 minutes' time. So also to look out for later on today, in that C2 1000 metres will be the reigning under-23 world champions, Ukraine. But let's have a look at this lineup in the men's C final of the K1 200 metres. There is Alex Scott of Canada. He'll be out in lane 4. Alongside him will be from Argentina, Ruben Rizola-Voissard in lane 6. Just cooling himself down, wetting his lips with a bit of water. And got the canoe athletes warming up there as well. In lane 7 in this men's K1 200 metre C final, we have Momotaro Matsushita. He'll be out there in lane 7 for Japan in the white boat there. It's already starting to hot up, not yet 8:30 here in the Czech Republic, and it's extremely warm out there. That is one of the athletes from the B final, Michele Bertolini. He'll be lining up in about 5 minutes' time, going in the B final. out there in lane 1. That's Slovakia's Lubomir Benio. Lane 3 from Brazil in this C final, Edson Isaias Freitas da Silva, silver medalist at the Pan American Championships last week in this event. And yesterday in the semi-finals we saw some extremely close racing. Some of these athletes just getting nudged out not only of the B final but just out of the A final. So this is promising to be a big morning of racing. And that's Yu Yong Chu of China, who will be in lane 9. And in lane 5, that's Filip Schwab of the Czech Republic, racing in front of a home crowd today. A former European bronze medalist. And out in lane 8, in the red boat there for Belgium, that's Jonathan D'Alembert, who was a finalist at the European Games in this event last year. So as you can see, although this is the C final, these athletes are already well decorated and plenty of credentials. So the C final of the men's K1 200 metres about to get underway. And they're underway, and a very, very good start indeed from those athletes in lanes 5 and 6. That's Filip Schwab from the Czech Republic and Ruben Rizola Boissard from Argentina. Also going well is the Japanese athlete in lane 7. But it does look like at the moment those three athletes, Czech Republic, Argentina and Japan, who are going nose to nose at the moment. It looks like Filip Schwab from the Czech Republic that's just nosing it as they come towards the last 50 metres. Can Schwab hold on to this C final and claim first place? Also going well in lane 1 as a Slovakian athlete, but it will be difficult to say. It's between Filip Schwab of the Czech Republic, Momotaro Matsushita of Japan went well as well, but as did Lubomir Benio of Slovakia. And it looks like it's been given to Filip Schwab of the Czech Republic, that first place. But it turned out to be an extremely close finish. And a great start from those three athletes in the central lanes in 5, 6 and 7. Extremely powerful, but it was Lubomir Benio of Slovakia that came up on the outside after a slower start. And you can just see the power being applied there. Gasping in for air over the last couple of metres and lunging his boat over the line when he takes a look over his shoulder to see how he got on. So I think it was Filip Schwab of the Czech Republic who took first. And there you have the time, 36.561, just 0.03 of a second behind was Japan's Momotaro Matsushita, with Lubomir Benio of Slovakia just 1/10 of a second behind the winner in third place. Remember, that was just a C final, so no medals up for grabs in that one, or the next one either, which is the B final. I can also tell you that it was Argentina, Ruben Rizola Boissard, who finished in 4th. Brazil's Edson Isaias Freitas da Silva, who finished 5th. Alex Scott from Canada in 6th. And Jonathan D'Alembert from Belgium in 7th, with China in 8th and Slovakia in 9th. And we're going to move very, very swiftly on to this men's K1 200 metres B final. And some incredible names in that starting lineup. Again, no medals up for grabs just yet. That'll be for the big showdown in around about an hour's time with the men's K1 200 metres A final. But there we have in lane 4 from Russia, Yuri Postrugai. Just in the foreground there in that yellow and blue boat. In lane 7, that'll be Kirilo Cernomorov of the Ukraine. That's Sweden's Erik Sandbecker. He'll be racing in lane 2. Meanwhile, out in lane 1, we have César de César of Ecuador. And there we have in lane 3, representing the Czech Republic, Łukasz Kozowski. And then in lane 5 from Australia, Stephen Bird, finalist at London 2012 in the K2 200, paddling with Jesse Phillips. In lane 7, that's the Ukrainian athlete, Chernomorov. And this men's K1 200 metre B final just pulling up into the start buckets. Marko Dragosavljevic of Serbia in lane 8, reigning under 23 world champion and senior European champion. So some may be surprised that he missed out on the A final, but that's just how close this racing is. The starters' orders. And they're underway, and it's a very good start for this athlete in lane 9. Michele Bertolini from Italy has got underway very, very well indeed. We're just seeing there that Petter Menning of Sweden is not in the race, which is a big shame. But Stephen Bird of Australia is making great ground, just has a nose lead over Michele Bertolini of Italy on this inside lane. But it's not over. There's 50 metres at least left to go, with César de César of Ecuador now pushing up into the lead, and Stephen Bird of Australia dropping back. César de César, and it will be Ecuador who take first, ahead of Sweden's Erik Sandbacker in second. And did Stephen Bird of Australia manage to cling on to that third place finish in this men's K1 200 metres B final? So there we have the winner of that B final, César de César of Ecuador. Just like in the C final, that lane 1 sneaking up on the outside. He was closely followed by Erik Sandbacker of Sweden, but really, really difficult to see who took that third place. So there we have it. Erik Sandbacker did take second, with Stephen Bird of Australia in third. Just a tenth of a second behind him was Michele Bertolini of Italy in fourth, with Yuri Postrugai of Russia taking fifth. Łukasz Kozowski of the Czech Republic in sixth. And a fantastic paddle from César de César there from Ecuador. Brilliant, brilliant start by Stephen Bird. Looked to be leading it out, and you can never say you've got it in the bag in the 200 metres, but was going very, very well. But surprise finish from César de César to clearly take that win in that B final. We'll move on now to canoe racing with the B final of the men's C1 200 metres. So I'll just finish off running down those that results. It was Łukasz Kozowski of the Czech Republic in sixth, Serbia's Marko Dragosavljevic in seventh, Ukraine's Kirilo Chernomorov in 8th, and Sweden's Petter Menning, who did not start. So in this B final of the men's C1 200 metres, that's Khalid Hussein of Tunisia. He'll be lining up out in lane 9. In that central lane, that's Nikolai Krashin of Italy. And you can see these Canoe athletes just have such powerful legs. It's about the whole body more than it is with kayak racing. In lane 3, that's Lubomir Hagara of Slovakia. 6th at London 2012 in this event. With Spen Stubenmay, who of Indonesia, in lane 7. And it's great to see the depth and the number of countries that are competing now at this level, making finals. And out in lane 2, that's the Canadian athlete Pierre-Luc Lalibert. And in lane 6, Japan's Tomoyaki Yuasa. So some big names to look out for in the men's C1 200A final later on. It looks like we're going to be missing lane 1 in this men's B final. That's the Brazilian athlete to Sacramento, unless he's going to be a little bit late. The athletes just getting themselves lined up on the start line. That's Michael Ferreira dos Santos of Brazil, just getting himself in position. Gold in the C1 500 at the Pan American Championships last year. He may be just manoeuvring himself to give his teammate time to get into place, if he's still hoping to race, which he is. And Matheus dos Sacramento Amorim. Oh no, they're underway. And dos Sacramento Amorim has missed the start, and they've got underway, and it's a really, really excellent start by Japan's Tomoyaki Yuasa. Powering along, looking really, really strong indeed. Italy's Nikolai Kratian there, getting his blade in really deep. And Yuasa just seems to have a very strong, long stroke, considering this is just such a short, powerful event. Also now coming up into contention for the medals. They've got 70 or perhaps just 60 metres to go. Out in lanes 3 and 4, that's Lubomir Hagara and Michael Ferreira dos Santos. And it's going to be between Slovakia and Brazil for the first 2 medals. And they will go, I think, to Brazil. It looks like they took first, with Slovakia in second, with the Japanese athlete taking third. But I'm not 100% convinced, because that was extremely, extremely close racing. And it was Yuasa that came out of the blocks very, very quickly indeed. At the moment, the photo finish, can't really pick it out, and really, really sad for Matheus dos Sacramento Amorim of Brazil, who seemed to be having some problems with his boat on the side of the course. Just about made it about a foot before before the start buckets, before the starter got them underway, and a real shame for him. But it did look like his teammate Michael Ferreira dos Santos who took first. As we said, gold medalist in the C1 500 at the Pan American Championships last week. Looks like he's won this B final this morning. And it was by just 1/100th of a second. Michael Ferreira dos Santos of Brazil taking first place ahead of Lubomir Hagara of Slovakia in second. And later on, we are going to be watching the reigning world champion Yuri Cheban, sorry, the reigning Olympic champion Yuri Cheban of Ukraine, a former world champion, lining up in the men's C1 200A final. Also got world silver medalist Qiang Li of China. He'll be there in the C1 200A final. And former 2-time European champion Yevgeny Shuklin of Lithuania as well. So that is promising to be a close and a fast race in the the A final of the men's C1 200 metres. So coming up next will be the C final of the women's K1 500 metres. That's in just a few moments' time. And that'll be followed by the B final as well. And even though this is a C final, like we saw in the K1 racing, some really exciting names lining up. And that's Alyssa Bull, who will go in the B final in a few moments' time. She's also racing K2 with Elise Burnett of Australia. And those girls will be heading to Rio in the summer. Their first Olympic Games for both of them. Bronze at the Under-23 Worlds last year. And they're in lane 6. Also B finalist, just finishing her warm-up, is Ivana Kmetova of Slovakia. But there we have, lining up for this C final that's about to get underway. From the Czech Republic, she'll be out in lane 8, that's Lucie Matuskova. And in lane 1, that's Kazakhstan Zoya Ananchenko. While in lane 4 from China, in that yellow boat, that's Yanan Wu. In lane 2, representing Belgium, Hermione Peters, junior European champion in K1 500 and K1000 back in 2012, junior world silver medalist in 2011. As we just saw a moment ago, that is Lucy Matuskova of the Czech Republic, hoping to make an impact in front of her home crowd. And it seems like there's a slight crosswind working its way across the lake at the moment, coming from right to left as the paddlers are coming down. And we have Esti van Tonder from South Africa, two-time finalist at Under-23 World Championships. Jennifer Egan of Ireland is having a storming couple of seasons, so interesting to see what she can do here. Then in lane 6 from Belgium, Lise Brooks. And out in lane 9, that will be Kazakhstan's Inna Klinova. So 2 athletes from Kazakhstan lining up in this C final. Zoya Ananchenko out in lane 1, Inna Klinova of Kazakhstan out in lane 9. And we're missing Verena Hantel from Germany. And they're underway in this C final of the women's K1 500 metres. As we saw with the men's 200 earlier on, no medals up for grabs just yet, but a very, very strong start from Inna Klinova of Kazakhstan in this near lane in lane 9. Meanwhile, Jennifer Egan also going strongly, has gone out of the blocks very, very well indeed. Starting to put the power down is Hermione Peters. You can see out there in that grey boat all the way over there in lane 2. And Esti van Tonder of South Africa is trying to match Hermione Peters stroke for stroke as well. But Jenny Egan looking very, very strong indeed. A really good rotation from her. There's Esti van Tonder of South Africa. A strong, controlled, long stroke rate from her. Later on we'll see Bridget Hartley, her South African teammate, going in the A final. So we're coming through the 250 metre mark. Athletes now starting to make their move, starting to put the power down. Jenny Egan still looking strong, so is Hermione Peters. Inna Klinova has dropped back now and her stroke rate has really dropped down. It'll be interesting to see where she's going to lift. Hermione Peters just keeping that stroke rate up. Lucy Matuskova of Czech Republic looking good as well. Jenny Egan still there. Esti van Tonder and Hermione Peters battling it out over on that far side in lanes 2 and 3. Van Tonder keeping some excellent posture as it starts to get tiring as they come in to this last 100 metres. Hermione Peters has started to surge ahead. Esti van Tonder dropping back. Jenny Egan still in third at the moment from Ireland in lane 7, but Lise Brooks of Belgium, another Belgium athlete, starting to push her way into contention. There's 50 metres less than that to go. Hermione Peters still looking strong, and a very good finish from Lise Brooks of Belgium as well. But first place will go to Hermione Peters of Belgium, followed very closely by Esti van Tonder of South Africa, with a second Belgian athlete, Lise Brooks, taking third place. And I think Jenny Egan just slipped back out of the top 3 into 4th after a very, very strong start indeed. But what fantastic racing from this C final. Just absolute quality, real depth across the board. You can see the power going through Jenny Egan's legs there. She just goes out of shot. And Lise Brooks wasn't the fastest out of the blocks by any means. And you can see there she's still down in 4th or 5th. And as they go through the last 200 metres, it was Hermione Peters and Jenny Egan that were just up there. But Peters quite a slight athlete, but obviously technically very, very efficient. And there you have the times, 1:56.763. That's not a bad time for a C final with these kind of conditions at all. Esteban Tonder a second behind for South Africa. Lise Brooks of Belgium in third there. Jenny Egan of Ireland in fourth. And it was China's Yanan Wu who took fifth. Lucy Matuskova of the Czech Republic in sixth. Kazakhstan in seventh and eighth. And Rina Hentel of Germany did not start. Very quickly, we're going to be moving on to the B final of the women's K1 500 metres. So if that women's K1 500C final was a nail biter, what have we got lined up now in this B final? And for the A final a little bit later on. So that's out in lane 1, Linnea Stencils of Sweden. She's becoming a really strong, consistent athlete at this level. Was one of the standout paddlers at the World Cup circuit last year. It's Naomi Flood of Australia in lane 2. A world champion in surf ski racing as well. She'll be heading to Rio 2016 this summer. And alongside her, her teammate Alyssa Bull, also heading to Rio with Elise Burnett in the K2 500. You see on the screen there Yvonne Schöring from Austria, silver medalist at the European Games last year, a former world champion in K2 500. Tamara Takac is in lane 5 from Hungary, and alongside her from Slovakia, that's Ivana Kometova. She'll be in lane 6. Meanwhile, in lane 7, Connie Wasmuth of Germany, also part of the German K4, an Olympic gold medalist in Beijing back in 2008. Pernille Knudsen of Denmark lining up in lane 8 now, and Michelle Russell of Canada. And that completes the lineup for this B final of the women's K1 500 metres. Just slipping forward and doing their last moments of preparation and the getting focus now. And they'll be under the starters' orders. Real focus from Linnea Stencils of Sweden out there in lane 1. This is where all the pressure and nerves come to a head. And this first stroke is so important. It looks like a good start from the athlete out in lane 3. That's Alyssa Bull from Australia. You can see there Linnea Stencils already opening out a nice long stroke, such a long reach. But it looks like the athlete in lane 7, Connie Wasmuth of Germany, that's just stroking herself into a lead. She's got a really interesting technique, really leaning over her stroke. And 2 lanes out, that's Yvonne Schöring in the white boat in... No, that's Tamara Takac, of Hungary in the white boat, that's looking really strong. But also looking good now is Linnea Stencils out in that far lane in lane 1. Just right close to us here, Michelle Russell from Canada has had a great start as well. So powering through the 250 metres now. Tamara Takac of Hungary is starting to make her move on Connie Wasmuth of Germany. But Connie Wasmuth still in the lead now as they come through the 200 metre mark. Yvonne Schöring is definitely putting the pressure on there as well, out in lane 4. And Connie Wasmuth still with that long, strong stroke. But Tamara Takac of Hungary in lane 5 is closing the gap. There's 150 metres left to go now. Tamara Takac looks like she could be edging herself into a lead. Those 2 athletes, lanes 5 and 7, Takac and Wasmuth, Hungary and Germany going nose to nose, but do not rule out Linnea Stencils from Sweden out in lane 1, who's having a storming finish. A really strong 200 metre athlete. We know she's powerful, but what has she got over the last 50 metres? And it is between those 2 athletes for the top 3 placings. But it will be Germany's Connie Wasmuth who clings on to take first place ahead of Tamara Takac of Hungary, who takes second. And I believe Linnea Stencils of Sweden with a very, very powerful finish, but not quite enough to take first place in this B final of the women's K1 500 metres. But what a fantastic race from these girls. What differing race plans as well. You saw Connie Wasmuth of Germany absolutely burst out of the blocks and managed to hold on to that lead with plenty of attacks from Tamara Takac of Hungary. Yvonne Schöring of Austria was there as well. Michelle Russell really gave her a very good race. And finally, over the last 200 metres, Linnea Stencils of Sweden putting in a really good performance. So it was Connie Wasmuth of Germany that took first place in that women's K1 500 metres B final. As we mentioned, Olympic gold medalist in the K4 500 back in Beijing at 2008. And still an athlete to be reckoned with. So still waiting for confirmation of those times and from the rest of the placings. But in a few moments' time, we will have the B final of the men's C1 500 metres. You can see the start line, the starting lineup for the men's C1 500 B final there on your screens. And still no confirmation yet of those times for the B final of the women's K1 500 metres. So let's take a look at this lineup for the B final of the men's C1 500. Out there in lane 1, that's Luca Incalingo of Italy. In lane 3, Matheus de Sacramento Amorim of Brazil. He gets a second go at it. We saw him a minute ago, just missed the start of the men's C1 200 metres. Perhaps he was, focusing on this one. Perhaps this is the big race for him. And out in lane 5, that's Kazakhstan's Stepan Larionov. In lane 2, from Slovakia, Vincent Farkas. And that's Matej Rusnak of Slovakia. He'll be going in lane 6. In lane 7, alongside him, Josep Karlsson of Estonia. And in lane 8, from Uzbekistan, Tatsin Ugli. And in lane 9, the athlete from Tajikistan. This B final to get underway. Connie Wasmuth's winning time in that K1 500 B final, 1:54.699. So as you can see, the athletes sort of choosing to start in different angles depending on which side they start on. Their first stroke could swing them round, bring them into line. That looked like it could have been a little bit of a false start from lane 7, but they got away with it, just timed it perfectly. But very strong out the blocks is Erik Rebstock from Germany. And what a long and incredibly agile stroke he has. As does Matej Rusnak from Slovakia, who's out there in lane 6 in the white boat. And Luca Incalingo of Italy, really putting the power down out in lane 1 as well. The race at the moment is between Erik Rebstock of Germany in lane 4 and Luca Incalingo of Italy out in lane 1, with Matej Rusnak just behind. And also now starting to put the power down after a sluggish start was Matheus de Sacramento Amorim. He's in lane 3 in that white boat and really starting to power through. You can see the difference in his stroke rate in comparison to Erik Rebstock. They're coming through the 250 metres now with Dos Sacramento Amarim just into the lead, with Eric Rebstock just easing back. Luka Inkalingo is still there, as is Matej Rusnak. He's in there as well. Remember, this is just the B final. No medals up for grabs just yet. That'll be getting underway in half an hour, the A finals. So they're through the 200 metre mark, 150 metres left to go, with Matej Dos Sacramento Amarim in the lead. It looks like between Rebstock of Germany and Rusnak of Slovakia, currently in second place. But Vincent Farkas of Slovakia also going really, really well. 70 metres left to go now. And Vincent Farkas of Slovakia is trying to power his way through into the contention for the top three. There's a battle on now between lane 3 and 4. Brazil against Germany for the top spot in this B final. But it will go to first place, Matej Dos Sacramento Amarim of Brazil, with Eric Rebstock of Germany taking second place. And third place, I really couldn't quite call it, unfortunately. But Matej Dos Sacramento Amarim just seemed nowhere out of the start. And he just seems to have just taken a few baby paddles at the start of it, but then absolutely powered back. Kind of gave himself a bit of a handicap at the start, and then just powered back with anger and determination and came straight through to take that first place. And perhaps a bit of anger at missing that start line for the C1 200 earlier on. But maybe it's paid off. He had plenty left for a big, big performance in that 500 metre B final. 1:54.437 was the winning time for the Brazilian. And 0.2 of a second behind was Eric Rebstock of Germany. And it was Vincent Farkas of Slovakia that took third place. And there we have on the screen the results of the women's K1 500 metres, which finished a little bit earlier on. 1:54.699 was the winning time for Connie Vasmuth of Germany. Tamara Takac of Hungary taking second, just 1/10 of a second behind. Remember, this is just a B final. Linnea Stencils of Sweden in third. Yvonne Schuring of Austria taking fourth. Pernille Knudsen of Denmark in fifth. Slovakia's Ivana Kmetova in sixth. Naomi Flood from Australia in seventh. Canada's Michelle Russell in eighth, and Alyssa Bull, also from Australia, in ninth. So next up is the C final of the men's K1 500 metres. Out in lane 1, that's Andri Summermatter from Switzerland. Alongside him in lane 2, representing Norway, Telland Hakim. In lane 3, from Uzbekistan, that's Vyacheslav Gorn. Looked like he was just putting a little bit of water on his head to try and keep cool. Sweden's Johnny Blixt in lane 4. This is the C final of the men's K1 500 metres. Tarmo Tutsi of Estonia in that central lane, in lane 5. Alongside him in lane 6 is Italy's Florio Matteo, finalist at the European Games in Baku last year in the K2 200 metres. In lane 7, Paul Mittelstadt of Germany, a former world champion in the K4 1000. That was back in 2011. Some cloud cover just starting to come over a little bit here in Racice. And that's the Iranian athletes in lane 8. Ali Agamirzai Jenagorad. And in lane 9, Mika Nikinen from Finland. few final deep breaths on the start line. And they're underway, and it was a very well-timed start from Johnny Blixt of Sweden in lane 4. We seem to see him burst out of the blocks with that first single stroke. He's getting his stroke rate up nicely. Sweden, of course, got a very, very strong 200-metre team, so we can expect power from these athletes. Also looking extremely good is Matteo Florio of Italy in that blue boat. But Johnny Blixt is on an absolute mission. He's almost a boat length ahead now of the rest of the field. Can he keep this stroke rate up for the full 500 metres? Can he keep up the power? What is his race plan? And who's going to come back and try and claw him back in? At the moment, Matteo Florio looking good in lane 6 in that blue boat near us. Just inside him, Paul Mittelstadt of Germany as well. And it's Hakim Telland of Norway, who's in that yellow and black stripy one out in lane 2 as well. So they're coming through the 200-metre mark now. 200 metres left to go, and still all to play for. Johnny Blixt of Sweden still has the lead, still looks in control, but believe me, it probably doesn't feel in control. And now Paul Mittelstadt of Germany is making a move. He's starting to up his stroke rate. He's starting to put the power down. Can Matteo Florio stay and cling on into contention as well? But it looks like those three athletes that are out the front as they approach the last 100 metres. Paul Mittelstadt of Germany now has moved into the lead, with Johnny Blixt of Sweden moving back into second. Matteo Florio now also starting to put the pressure onto Blixt as they come towards the last 50 metres of the race. Blixt now starting to tire. Telland of Norway looking very strong, but it will be Paul Mittelstadt of Germany with a fantastic finish to take first, ahead of Matteo Florio of Italy that takes the second place, with Johnny Blixt of Sweden in third. And it was always going to be tough when you make such a big start and put down that power and that strength to hold on for Johnny Blixt. He does cling on to third, but what a finish from Paul Mittelstadt. You can see him gasping for air there at the finish. And Mittelstadt was by no means quickest out of the blocks at all. That mantle goes to Johnny Blixt. And look at that lead that he stretched out. And the thing for racing like this is to have the plan that works for you. Play to your own strengths. If you've got the power, use it. And if you've got a strong finish, use that. But the German squad are really well known for their fantastically strong finishes. We saw Sebastian Brendel do the same in the C1000 yesterday as well. You know, you can just rely on them to come through, and you could really see Paul Mittelstadt lift at the 200 metres and just take it away by almost 2 seconds. There you have it, 1:43.013, the winning time in the C final of the men's K1 500 metres, with Matteo Florio taking second, almost 2 seconds behind. Johnny Blixt of Sweden in third. Ali Agamirzai Zhenagrad of Iran taking fourth. So a fantastic win for Paul Mittelstadt of Germany in that C final of the men's K1 100 metres. We've seen some good performances. So we've seen some really strong racing in the other classes as well this morning. And I do have some news that just the news to bring you that in the men's C1 500 metres B final, Matheus do Sacramento Amorim of Brazil has been disqualified. He won that B final, and not a great amount of luck for him this morning. He was the one that missed the start of the men's C1 200 metres B final as well. So a disappointing morning for the Brazilian athlete. So that lifts Eric Rebstock of Germany to first place in the men's C1 500 metres B final. So So plenty of exciting racing to come in just a few moments' time. The A finals will kick off in around 15 minutes. And we'll have the B final of the men's K1 500 first before moving on to the A finals. The first A final will be the women's K1 500. Then we'll move down to the shortest distances, and that will be the men's K1 and C1 200 metres. After that we move into the crew boats with the men's C2000, followed by the big ones, the men's C4 1000 metres and the women's K4 500 metres, before rounding off the morning's racing with the finals of the men's C1 500 and men's K1 500 metres. Good morning and a very warm welcome to an extremely warm Racice in the Czech Republic and the final day of the second ICF Canoe Sprint World Cup of 2016, where the world's top athletes are looking to make their mark on the international stage with just 2.5 months to go to the start of the Olympic Games in Rio. And we have a packed programme of racing for you this morning, all of them finals, starting off with the B final of the men's K1 500 metres before moving on to the A finals. The first A final will be the women's K1 500 metres. Then we'll move down to the shortest distance to be contested this weekend, the Fast and the Furious, with the men's K1 and C1 200 metres. After that we move into the crew boats with the men's C2 1000 metres, followed by the big ones, the men's K4 1000 and the women's K4 500 metres, before rounding off the morning's racing with the finals of the men's C1 500 and the men's K1 500 metres. So plenty of medals up for grabs out there this morning. And I have alongside me Hayley Mason from the Great Britain canoe sprint team, former World Cup gold medalist in K4, former European bronze medalist in K4 as well. Hayley, for you, what are you most looking forward to seeing out there this morning?
I think obviously the British, I'm going to be cheering them on. So Rachel in the K1 500 and Liam and Ed in the K1 200.
But first of all, we do have the B final of the men's K1 500 metres. The British athlete in there as well, John Boyton.
Yeah, I think John will be looking to get a top 5 finish here in the B final.
So lining up at the moment in this B final of the men's K1 500, that's lane 4. That's Barry Watkins of Ireland. Alongside him, Petr Geller of Slovakia, former world champion in the K2 1000 metres. There you have John Boyton of Great Britain. Came second in the B final of the 1000 metres yesterday. And out in lane 7 from Finland, that's Mika Dietrich. Finished second in the B final in Duisburg. Looking to upgrade that hopefully today. Out in lane 3 now, that's Wagner Junior Suter from Brazil. Bronze medalist in the K1000 metres and silver in the K4000 at the Pan American Championships last week.
Yeah, it's looking quite breezy out there at the moment as well.
And they are underway in this B final, the men's K1 500 metres. Yeah, what's your assessment first, looking at it first of all, Hayley, of the conditions out there?
It looks a bit crosswindy out there, so coming from the right hand side across the course, but looks like Boyton's got a very good start there.
Yeah, John Boyton from Great Britain, absolutely powering out of the blocks, a bit like we saw in the K1000 yesterday. His technique is looking very strong and very smooth, but also going well is the Brazilian athlete out in lane 3, who's nosing his way back up, just closing that gap on John Boyton out of the front of this 500 metres B final. That's Wagner Junior Suter of Brazil. It's Boyton and Suter who are out the front as they come towards the 250 metre mark. Real determination on the face of Suter, and really interesting to see.
Looks like Barry Watkins is up there as well, maybe in 3rd place.
Yeah, that's the Irish athlete Barry Watkins, who is out there in lane 4 in 3rd place at the moment, with the German athlete Martin Holstein gritting his teeth. So 49 seconds they go through that 250 in. John Boyton now regaining his lead, with the Brazilian athlete dropping back. They're into the last 100 metres, and you can see Jonathan Boyton smashing down the power through every stroke. He's got almost a boat length lead now, and he's had a fantastic start and a fantastic finish. They've got less than 30 metres to go. It's looking absolutely fantastic for Jonathan Boyton, who will take a very convincing first place in this B final, ahead of Barry Watkins of Ireland, who just snuck through to take 2nd place, with Wagner Junior Suter of Brazil in 3rd. And your thoughts on that performance there, Hayley?
Well, it looks like Jonathan Boyton's very happy with that. He had an awesome start and then just managed to hold on to that pace through the middle and then finish off very strongly. So very good race from him.
Yeah, Yeah, that seemed to be his race plan in the 1,000 metres yesterday. He finished second in the B final in the 1,000 with a very, very strong finish.
Yeah, he's looking strong there. He's had a very good season so far, Johnny Boyton. I think he'll be very happy with that.
He's been around for a little while, but it seems like the last couple of seasons he's really starting to make his mark, isn't he?
Yeah, I think last year he made his first A final in the European Games in Azerbaijan. And I think from there that just gave him a lot of confidence, and he just seems to be like stepping up and getting closer and closer. You know, the men's, to get into that men's A final at the World Cup level is just, it's very high these days.
So that time for John Boyton in the men's K1 500 metre B final said 9 minutes 44. I find that unlikely.
That's quite a slow time.
And we will have the women's K1 500 metre A final coming up very soon. So John Boyton taking first in that B final ahead of Barry Watkins of Ireland and Wagner Junior Suter of Brazil taking third. Now this is looking like an exciting lineup for the A final of the women's K1 500 metres. Hayley, looking at those names, which ones kind of stand out? Which ones kind of come out and grab you and say, I'm going to be in contention for medals?
Oh, it's hard to pick. I mean, obviously, Ina Ostapenko, she's looking in great form this year. Rachel Cawthorne hasn't raced the K1 yet this year, but obviously I've raced her, and she's definitely going well. Martina from Slovakia, she's had a great start to the year, obviously qualifying the Olympic spot in the second round last week and a medal yesterday in the 200 metres. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close race, so it's hard to call, I think.
Hayley Mason from Great Britain alongside me this morning out there in lane 1. That's China's Yu Zhao. She was a bronze medalist at the World Championships last year. And alongside her, 20-year-old Emma Jorgensen from Denmark. Great Britain's Rachel Cawthorne. Like Hayley said, her first K1 international of the year so far. She's suffered from a really bad virus over the winter and has come back from almost sort of walking in training to, you know, making this A final. So fantastic achievement for her.
Good from her.
And Ina Ostapenko Radomska of Azerbaijan. She's the fastest qualifier in this women's K1 500 metres A final. 1:53.393 was her winning time from the semi-finals yesterday. And in lane 6 from Slovenia, Spela Ponomarenko-Janik. Bridget Hartley just doing a last back paddle. The South African athlete in lane 7. We're just trying to get the weed off her rudder just in case. Emily Fornell of Canada will be there in lane 8 in that red boat. After her second Olympic Games, having been selected to race K1 500 in Rio. And in that central lane from Slovakia, Martina Kolova, bronze medalist in the K1 200 metres yesterday. Looking to add to that here this morning in this A final of the women's K1 500 metres. So you raced in the semi-finals yesterday.
Yeah.
How did you find it? What were the conditions like yesterday, and what's the calibre like out there this weekend?
I think this year in the Olympic year, everyone always steps up, and the girls this year are going super fast. So it was very hard, and it was a bit crosswindy yesterday, but everyone's just stepped up so much. So I think the pace is just really high. I think like they'll be looking to get a good start and then maintain that and have a strong finish, but
they are underway in this A final of the women's K1 500 metres. It looks like a good start from Spela Ponomarenko-Janik. That's the Slovenian athlete in lane 6. Going strongly as well is Emily Fornell of Canada. She does have a really, really strong start. Interesting to see whether she can hold on to that. Emma Jorgensen of Denmark going well as well. But Ina Ostapenko Radomska of Azerbaijan currently edging her way into the lead. Really high stroke rate in that black boat in the central lanes.
yeah, and I think Emma, the Danish girl, is a very young girl, and she's definitely stepped up onto the K1 scene this year for the seniors, so she'll be looking to put out a good race too.
So the main battle at the moment is in the central 2 lanes between Ina Ostapenko Radomska of Azerbaijan and just behind her Martina Kolova of Slovakia. They're coming through the 250 metres, and Ina Ostapenko Radomska has almost a boat length lead.
Yeah, she looks like she's pulling away there still, actually.
what has she got over the last 200 metres? Radomska now with a boat length lead, a really commanding lead in such a strong field. Can she hold on?
Martina's looking very strong in lane 5 as well, the Slovakian girl. And then it's quite a straight line after that for maybe the bronze medal.
It looks like the bronze medal could go to any of those athletes. Out there is China's Yu Zhao out in lane 1. She's looking good, and they're also pegging back Martina Kolova. Difficult to see from this angle. Rachel Cawthorne coming up now alongside Emma Jorgensen, but it's still with Ina Osipenko-Radomska. They've got 50 metres to go. They're pegging her back gradually, but the finish line is getting closer and closer. Radomska breathing in the last few gasps of air of the last few metres, and it will be a commanding first place for Ina Osipenko-Radomska of Azerbaijan to take first place. Silver and bronze to go out in those outside lanes between China and Denmark, but I'm not sure quite which way it went, but
I think maybe the Danish got second and the Chinese third, but I'm not sure.
And that performance from Ina Osipenko-Radomska there, just, were you surprised at that, looking at the calibre there, that she was able to put down that?
No, I think she looked in great form last week, and sometimes people can go out too hard, but she's definitely got that speed and endurance to finish off that back end of the race. So she was pulling away there, which was an awesome race from her. Definitely in good form for Rio.
And it looked like Martina Kolova of Slovakia was just clinging on in contention. She looked like the one that was going to put the pressure on, but in the end it was those outside lanes. Do you think the conditions are coming into play a little bit?
Maybe a little bit, but when you look out there across the lanes, it doesn't look like there's favourable lanes, you know, but it's hard to tell from up here. But
so there we have it. 1:52.388, the winning time for Ina Osipenko-Radomska. Half a second behind was Yu Zhao of China, but just 1/100th of a second behind her was Denmark's Emma Jorgensen. So a very close finish indeed. And it was Rachel Cawthorne of Great Britain that finished in 4th place in that women's K1 500 metres final.
Yeah, that was close. I think for the bronze medal, there was a big fight on for the silver and the bronze there from a lot of them. It was a good race.
A big fight went over in those 3 lanes.
Yeah.
Those girls must have been eyeballing each other all the way down there.
Yeah. I think Rachel will be happy with that, though, for the first race in her K1 this year. It's a good starting point for the year. So.
And do you think we'll expect to see her race that at the Europeans as well this year? Or will she focus on the K4? What do you think?
I'm not sure what the programme looks like for the Europeans, but if it doesn't clash, I think she'd be looking to do both. So, yeah, I think their priority is the K4, but I think they'll be looking to race their K1s too, her and Jess Walker.
So this has got to be one you've been looking forward to, is the men's K1 200 metres A final. If you're just joining us, Hayley Mason from Great Britain, K4 athlete and K1 athlete this weekend alongside me. We're looking now at the A final lineup for the men's K1 200 metres. This is going to be far too close to call. Mark de Jong of Canada there in lane 3, reigning world champion. He's going to be one to be 8th in Duisburg last week, so probably keen to step up on that, I would have thought. Liam Heath, we just saw there from Great Britain, the fastest qualifier, 36.505 the time. You can see Liam Heath there just getting himself into place with his trademark cap on backwards.
Yeah, he's looking good, in good form this year, very good form.
I can imagine they were happy with their bronze medal that he won with Johnny Schofield yesterday in the K2.
Yeah, I think they were definitely happy to get onto that podium. It's so close now in the 200 metres, anything can happen, so I think they were very happy with that.
And there you have fellow Great Britain athlete Ed McKeever out in lane 7, reigning Olympic champion, but it's been a tough season for him so far, missing out on qualification for Rio, so really good to see him back in an A final. Alongside him in lane 8 will be Maxime Beaumont from France, on silver in Duisburg last week, silver medalist at the World Championships last year as well. And out in lane 9, that's Marko Novakovic from Serbia, 5th in the K2 200 metres with Nebojša Grujić yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of these boys are doing the K1 and K2 this year, so it's making the fields even tougher.
And I can can almost feel the nerves in the air before this A final. They are underway in this final of the men's K1 200 metres. Who's got a strong start? It's Ed McKeever who's got a very strong start. So's Liam Heath of Great Britain. So the two British athletes currently leading it out. Great start from them. Ronald Rauer of Germany, though, powering back, trying to claw down Ed McKeever, who's just slipping back. Still Liam Heath from Great Britain in first, though. There's 50 metres to go. Has Ronald Rauer got any reply to that? He's currently in the silver medal position. And it is going to be gold to Great Britain. That is Liam Heath who takes first place. And tough to work out whether that silver went to Ronald Rauer of Germany. I think it did.
Very good race from Liam there.
And he will be extremely happy with that.
Yeah, I think he was a bit annoyed last week to not win, so I think he'll definitely be very happy with that win today. Very good win.
And check out a really impressive lunge by Ronald Rauer. Didn't manage to get in the first place, but kept him ahead of Maxime Beaumont of France, who was out in lane 8 and took the bronze medal. But a gold medal for Liam Heath of Great Britain, adding to his bronze in the K2 200 yesterday with Johnny Schofield. It's been really exciting. Obviously, that pair, Liam and Johnny, going to the Olympic Games in Rio. Really exciting to see what they can do in both of those events, and good to see Ed McKeever coming back and looking strong as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to see the double up. Obviously, the team hasn't been confirmed yet for the Rio, not till June, but yeah, I'm very happy to see Ed in there as well. Like you say, he's had a hard start to the year, so I think he'll be happy to have made that A final. Bet Liam looks happy with that.
I think that was come on.
Yeah.
So they have the winning time, 34.634. Not a bad time at all, considering these aren't the ideal conditions. World's best time is 33.961. Ronald Rauer of Germany taking second, with Maxime Beaumont of France in third. It was Manfredi Riese of Italy who took the fourth place, with Ed McKeever, also of Great Britain, taking fifth.
Yeah, I think with the new change this year to, well, I think it came in last year as well, the guys can now double up in the K2 and the K1, so I think a lot of them are happy with that. It's the chance to get 2 medals instead of 1. So
this is at Rio, or this is here at the World Cups?
It's here at the World Cups, and I believe it's the same for Rio as well. So I think a lot of them that's what they're trialling out at the World Cups to see if they can do it.
So without wasting any time at all, we are now lining up for the A final of the men's C1 200 metres. And out there, that's lane 2. That's Lithuania's Yevgeny Shuklin, European champion in 2010 and 2013 as well. And in lane 3, this is one of the men to beat for sure, Yuri Cheban of Ukraine, the reigning Olympic champion. He was world champion in 2014, and he also set the current world's best time, which incidentally is 38.137. And that's Kazakhstan's Timur Haydarov out in lane 4. He's the fastest qualifier in this C1 200 metres A final. 41.683 the time he qualified with yesterday. And alongside him in lane 5, that's Qiang Li of China, 7th in Duisburg last week, looking very strong in the semi-finals yesterday, and a silver medalist at the World Championships last year as well. Then we have Ukraine's Oleksandr Maksimchuk out in lane 6 in that blue boat, a 2-time world silver medalist in the 4x200 metre relay. I can imagine that's one of your favourites, Hayley, the 4x200 metre relay, because I know you're a real power athlete, really, aren't you?
Yeah, it is very fun, that event, especially when you're going up and down and creates lots of wash from the side as well, but I really enjoy it, so it's a good event for the programme. Seems like a very tough C1 200 metre field here.
It does look extremely tough indeed. So there we have lane 9's Benjamin Tardioli of Canada, silver medalist at the Pan American Championships last week.
I think this crosswind could affect maybe the canoes a bit more than the kayaks.
And I guess it all depends a little bit as well on which side they paddle on, about how much it affects them, which side they put their blade in on.
Yeah, I think today it would be better for the right-hand side paddlers, C1 paddlers.
So they're just getting some instructions, and they are. It looks like they're underway. It could have been a full start because lane 5's Qiang Li looked quite sluggish out of the blocks, but looking really strong already is the Ukrainian athlete Yuri Cheban out in lane 3. But there we have Stefan Kirai of Germany. He's in lane 7, and this is going to be really, really close indeed. Look at lanes 4 and 5 going nose to nose. 5 we said we could slow out the block, certainly not slow anymore. Qiang Li of China currently in 2nd, not giving Timur Hydarov of Kazakhstan any breathing space at all. Stefan Kirai of Germany in lane 7 looking really good as well. And as they come to the line, it will be the Kazakhstan athlete Timur Hydarov who looks to have taken the gold in the men's C1 200 metres, with Qiang Li of China hot on his heels, but difficult to separate the rest of that field.
Yeah, I think in the canoes, obviously, they can lunge a lot better than the kayaks, so it just looks like they all came across together. But the lane 4, the Kazakhstan guy, got a very good start, and I think he just held on to that lead.
So just see a rerun of that start with Qiang Li dropping behind Timur Hydarov from the first couple of strokes, which is probably where what made the difference between gold and silver for him.
Yeah, he looked a bit slow at the start there, but he managed to catch up quite a bit.
And it looks like a well-perfected lead as well for Hydarov. And a very happy man with a gold medal there. Finalist at the Under-23 World Championships last year. Silver in the C2 200 metres yesterday with Mary Medvedov, so he's adding a gold in the C1 200 to that. So 39.844, the winning time in the A final of the men's C1 200 metres. It was Qiang Li of China that took the silver medal, Stefan Kirai of Germany that took the bronze, Yuri Cheban of Ukraine took 4th, with Canada's Benjamin Tardioli in 5th. Lithuania's Yevgeny Shuklin in 6th, and Alexander Maximchuk of Ukraine in 7th. Germany's Stefan Holtz in 8th, and Mary Medvedov of Kazakhstan in 9th. And we're sticking with the canoes, but we're moving up to the longer distance, and we're jumping into the crew boats for the A final of the men's C2 1,000 metres. Out there in lane 7, that's Hungary's Andras Petko and Adam Fekete. Kind of a newish crew on the international scene. They both raced C2 last year, but with different partners, so interesting to see what they've got in the tank. Just a couple of minutes away from the start, still paddling around in circles. And that's in lane 3. Dmitry Ianchuk and Taras Mishchuk of Ukraine. Possibly the favourites here. They won gold in Duisburg last week. They're also the reigning under-23 world champions and the senior European champions as well. That's in lane 1. That's the pair from the Czech Republic. One of the pairs of the Czech Republic's got 2 Czech crews in this A final of the C2000. So really exciting in front of a home crowd here in Racice.
Yeah, they should get some good home support here.
And although this is where we are in Racice, is the middle of nowhere, you do still get some noise from the grandstands, don't you?
Oh yeah, you could hear them yesterday when Doster was coming down with the bells. So yeah, there's definitely some good support going on here. But yeah, it is in the middle of nowhere.
And when I say the middle of nowhere, Racice I think has a population of 300, but it's an absolutely beautiful place to have a regatta course. So there we have in lane 4 Oleg Tarnovsky and Sergei Tarnovsky, the brothers from Moldova. Sergei winning silver in the C1 1000 yesterday. Oleg was 6th. Alongside them will be Sebastian Brendel and Jan van Drey from Germany in lane 5. Brendel, the gold medalist in the C1000 yesterday, and he and Sergei Tarnovsky have had some good battles in their C1s this year already, so interesting to see what those central lanes have in store for us. Then in lane 6, in that blue boat, that's Andriy Rybachuk and Yuri Vandiuk of the Ukraine. that pair have paddled together since they were juniors. They were junior world champions in 2012, under 23 world champions in 2013. And for you, Haley, would you say that's what makes a good pair crew, be it in canoeing or kayaking, is that time together in the boat?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can get new crews that just, do just gel together straight away, or there's some boats that take longer to get going together. But yeah, I think you definitely need a lot of time in the boat together.
So they're underway in this A final of the men's C2 1,000 metres. And there we have the German crew, Sebastian Brendel and Jan van Drey. But heading into the lead is Oleg Tarnowski and Sergei Tarnowski. As we mentioned, they are brothers. Sergei the younger in the back of the boat. And we know that in their C1s they both have very, very powerful, strong starts. So we can definitely expect them to go out into the lead. It's just interesting to know, interesting to see how it all pans out with the Germans alongside them, who, as we know, also have a strong finish. So if the Germans are in contention early on, then that's a good sign for them.
Yeah, I think in the 1,000, in all races, you need to stick to your race plan, and not get distracted. So it'd be interesting to see what the different crews do here. But yeah, it looks like lane 4's gone out hard.
And for you, Haley, you're obviously a kayak athlete. Have you ever had a go in a canoe in a C1 or a C2?
Yeah, I have. It didn't go so well. I did end up staying in for a while, but when I came to trying to steer, because obviously they don't have rudders, they just steer with their paddles, I just fell in because I was just going around in circles.
That's what everyone said. When I've asked them, they say they just go around in circles. But here we go. It's coming up towards sort of 500 metre mark just about, and it's Moldova's Oleg Tarnowski and Sergei Tarnowski who have nearly a boat length's lead. But Germany's Sebastian Brendel and Jan van Drey are on their inside in lane 5. Outside them in lane 3 is Dmitry Yanchuk and Taras Mishchuk of Ukraine, just flanking them and staying in contention as they come through the 500 metre mark. And how relaxed and in control do Germany look?
Yeah, they do look good at the moment. Seems to be the same gap at the moment, though. The lead and the second place.
Oleg and Sergei Tarnowski actually raced together here in Racice in Chitsa 2 years ago. They made the finals of the C2 200 and the C2 500. But you can see now Ukraine are making their move. They're well through the 500 metre mark, and Ukraine are pushing themselves up alongside the Moldovans with every single stroke and looking extremely strong. And the other Ukrainian crew are also still in contention just behind the Germans, currently sitting in 4th. But it's Ukraine now who surge forward as they come through to the last 250 metres. Germany are dropping back from the first and second places. What have they got in the tank? And this is what they've got in the tank. You can see that German pair put the power in already. That was the plan. 250 metres. They're going to power their way through. They're going to lift. They've closed that lead to half a boat length already. And what a finish by the looks of things at the moment from the Germans.
Yeah, it's looking like going to be a very good finish. It's going to be hurting a lot right now, so they're pushing on. But there's 3 boats here in a line, so
this is all about trust in your race plan. The Germans, as we saw, hung back, and then 250 metres, they turned on the switch. They're coming into the last 100 metres. Moldova now still have a little bit left after that really strong start. Our Germany closing that gap centimetre by centimetre. But it looks like they're just going stroke for stroke. At the moment, Moldova just have the lead. There's literally a few metres to go, and Moldova have hung on to take the gold ahead of Germany, who take the silver. And it will be Ukraine out in lane 3 who take the bronze. And with 250 metres to go, looking at that German pair, did not expect that finish.
No, they had a very good finish there. They just couldn't quite catch them in the end, but very good finish from them.
And really exciting to see the brothers celebrating together. We've seen them race against each other, every World Cup almost. They've got a really good rivalry going, but it's clearly a friendly, brotherly one, because look at the joy there at winning.
Yeah, it looks like a good rivalry because they seem to be getting on very well, and they have to race each other, so they must push each other on too as well, so making them better.
And they just went out from the very start, and to be honest, I have my doubts. I knew how strong that German finish was. I knew that the Moldovans had a strong start, but they've obviously been working really hard on their race plan to just get it just right. And that is joy all over his face, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when you're in a race and someone's coming back on you, it is quite easy to tie up, but they managed to hold on and keep their technique all the way to their line.
And paddling's in your family as well, isn't it? Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so my dad's actually my coach, and he went to the Olympics in '76 in Montreal. So that's how I got into it. My brothers both did it, but they stopped after a while. But yeah, it's a very big part of my family, and my dad still goes to the club now and trains most days. So yeah, he loves it still.
So there you have those results of the men's C2 1,000 metres A final. It was Moldova's Oleg Tarnowski and Sergei Tarnowski that took the gold ahead of Sebastian Brendel and Jan van Drey of Germany with the silver. A fantastic race with Ukraine's Dmitry Ianchuk and Taras Mishchuk, who took the bronze there. And that was followed by the second Ukrainian crew, looking really strong in the seaboat paddling this week especially. That's Andriy Rybachok and Yuri Vandiuk. They took fourth. It was Hungary's Andras Petko and Adam Fekete who finished in fifth. Sixth place went to Canada's Paul Bryant and Roland Varga, with the Czech pair of Miskovsky Radek and Tomasz Janda in seventh. While eighth place went to Ili Sprinshin and Oleg Nuta, the second Moldovan pair. Oleg Nuta paddled with Oleg Tarnowski at the European Olympic qualifiers last week. They just missed out on qualifying for Rio 2016, and in ninth in that men's C2 1,000 metres A final was the Czech pair of Wojtek Russo and Jakub Brzezina. So in a few moments' time, we will see the A final of the men's K4 1,000 metres. But first of all, we will have the medal ceremony for the men's K1 200 metres. And what a race this was, Haley.
Yeah, it was. The 200 metres is always the most exciting race for me. I think it's so short and over so fast, and you never know what's going to happen. So, and Liam's he's only raced K1, I think 200 from last year. So for him to be, I think, on the podium every time he's raced is absolutely amazing. To get it right that many times is hard in the 200 metres at this stage.
So the medals for the men's K1 200 metres are being presented by the Secretary General of the International Canoe Federation, Simon Tolson, along with the team leader of Great Britain, that's Alan Williams. And the bronze medal there being presented to Maxime Beaumont of France. We saw Sarah Guyot of France take gold in the women's K1 200 metres yesterday. Herself a very powerful athlete as well.
So I think all these athletes are in the K2 also, as well, for the 200, aren't they?
Yeah, Sebastian Beaumont got a silver yesterday in the K2, and Ronald Rowett got a gold yesterday in the K2, and Liam Heath got a bronze yesterday in the K2. So I'm sure these athletes are really, really familiar with each other. So Ronald Rowett taking the silver for Germany, and then stepping up onto the podium to proudly take his gold medal is Great Britain's Liam Heath. Got a joint bronze in Duisburg last week. That was with Alexis Rumanchevs from Latvia. A very happy man to be taking the gold alongside athletes of such calibre as well.
Yeah, Ronnie's come back to doing the K1 this year as well, so he's got to be happy with that after his K2 gold yesterday.
Although a lot of athletes see these World Cups as kind of warm-up events, a chance to put sort of throw the gauntlet down, as it were. I wouldn't be surprised if the Olympic podium, in some order, looked similar to that come August.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the 200, like you say, if you race it again tomorrow, you might get a different order of the medals. But yeah, they'll be looking forward to Rio, and yeah, like you say, it's a good practice event for the World Cups to lead up to Rio. So
we just saw the medal ceremony for the men's K1 200 metres with gold going to Liam Heath. Before that, also this morning, we saw a fantastic race from the women's K1 500 metres in Osipenka Radobska of Azerbaijan, taking gold in that one. And the next race on course this morning will be the A final of the men's K4 1000 metres. It's the one that, to me, I know looks most exciting. It's the one that attracts the most crowds. And I'm sure for athletes as well, it's something that people want to be part of, isn't it?
yeah, the K4 is such a awesome event to be part of. I love doing K4, and the men's K4000 is always a great race. It's always so close for 1,000 metres. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
And there's 2 Czech crews in this race. They'll be out in lanes 1 and 2, so not only racing against a home crowd, but they'll be able to eyeball each other. It'll be interesting to see whether this is kind of a little bit of a race off for the Olympics. I'm not sure if it is, but that sometimes happens in these World Cups where you see a couple of crews from the same nations lining up.
Yeah, I mean, what great depth to have 2 men's K4s in a final, so that's really good.
And this is one exciting looking boat. This is Germany. Gross, Hoff, Liebscher and Rentschmidt. Rentschmidt and Gross won gold in the K2000 yesterday. Liebscher won gold with Ronald Rauer in the K2 200 yesterday. And Max Hoff took silver in the K1 1000. So
that'll be a speedy boat.
It'll be really exciting. That's a really exciting sort of prospect to see how they combine. But of course, it's not in K4 racing. It's not just about your individual power as an individual athlete, is it?
Yeah, I think with that they've obviously got the 1,000 metre pace from the K2 and the K1, and then Liebscher. He's a very good 500 metre paddler as well as being an awesome 200 metre paddler. So I think with the K4000 you need the 500 metre speed as well. So
and there you have the Slovakians, the reigning world champions, out in lane 6. That's Denis Majstuk, Erik Vulček, Juraj Tar and Tibor Linka. Tar and Vulček were part of the Slovakian Olympic crew in 2012. And another crew to watch. They'll be lining up alongside that exciting German crew. That's Hungary. Zoltan Kamara, David Tot, Tamas Kulifai and Daniel Paumann.
Yeah, that crew's been together since London, or maybe a bit before, and I think they've always been on the medal podium. So
yeah, they were the Olympic silver medalists at London 2012. They've stuck together since then every year. European Games champions last year. Another exciting crew. There's just the whole lineup here is just thrilling. Australia out there, gold in Duisburg last week. I mean, the race last week between Australia and Russia, I don't know if you saw it, but it just was nose to nose the whole way down between those 2 crews. Australia just taking gold in the finish.
Yeah, I did see it. In Australia, last year they swapped and changed their crew around, and I think it's a really good idea to test them out, especially at the World Cup. But they seem to have stuck with the same one from last week to this week, so I think they'll be looking for the win again. And they've got 2 very young boys and guys in there as well, so that's great for them.
Yeah, Kenny Wallace, we saw won silver in the K2 1,000 metres yesterday, paddling with Lockie Tame. And for them, no matter what kind of, they haven't decided what their combinations will be for Rio yet. The athlete selections have been made, but they've not chosen their combinations. And it just seems like whatever they choose in the K2 or K4, they've got medal potential.
Yeah, the Australian guys seem to have a very, very good 1,000 metre team, and like you say, they've got K2 medalists and then they've got K4 medalists. I think Jordan Wood and Riley Fitzsimmons were under 23 world champions last year in the K2, so yeah, they've got lots of options.
And there we have I think that's the Hungarian crew.
Yeah, must be.
And that's the second Hungarian crew of Csompa, Doba, Vidakovic and Georgi Jakab. 2 Hungarian crews in this. We've got 2 Czech crews, 2 Hungarian crews. And that's the other Czech crew that we've just spoken about. The first one, I've got the first Czech crew out in lane 1. That's Nepras, Sluf, Vesely and Zavril. They won bronze at the Under-23 World Championships last year, with Zavril coming into the boats in place of Patrick Gashera this season.
So it looks like maybe they might have some Under-23 crews and senior crews out there. So
It could be the seniors against the Under-23s. That's always a good one.
These days it's pretty much the same. It's quite same speed at Under-23s as seniors. So get some fast guys there.
So for you, do you reckon there's a favourite in this race?
I'm looking forward to seeing the German crew. I think in those middle lanes it could come from anyone, but I think, yeah, the Germans, the Aussies, the Hungarians.
That could be a really interesting battle in
Yeah.
the middle 3 lanes. A real sense of anticipation building up ahead of this A final of the men's pay for 1,000 metres. Czech Republic in lanes 1 and 2, Australia in lane 3, Germany lane 4. Starters orders. And a very strong start from that German crew in lane 4, straight out of the blocks. Australia are matching them though. It looks like Hungary didn't get out of the blocks quite so well, and they're down, but already Germany have a lead, and that looks absolutely fantastic from them. Also Slovakia looking good. They're currently sitting in 2nd, but we know that the Germans have got the power.
Yeah.
Leave Share, of course, winning goal with Ronald Brouwer in the K2 200 yesterday. We know they've got the legs as well, with Schmidt and Gross taking gold in the K2000.
Yeah, I think there'll be quite a few different race plans going on in each boat, so it'll be interesting to see come the finish what works and what comes out on top.
So the first after the first 250 metres, it's Germany who are in the lead. The Slovakians currently in 2nd, with Hungary in 3rd. Australia still in contention. You can see their strike rate just a little bit lower. We know they have a fantastic finish. We've seen that plenty of times. 41.570 is the time over the first 250 metres. I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I think obviously the Germans, they want to get out hard. They want to set the marker, and then I think some boats like to go a bit steadier, have equal splits, so I don't think you can write anyone off at the moment. They all look quite smooth and relaxed though, don't they?
It's so hard to tell though from the outside.
The German boat is looking very well.
So Hungary look like they're coming up alongside after that slightly slow start from the Hungarians, by comparison anyway. They're currently in 2nd there. Slovakia dropping back, and Australia still there. Australia are a boat length behind Germany. What have they got over the last 500 metres? Germany though, absolutely stroking out that lead. What do you make of that?
The Germans actually look like they're still pulling away now, so they look awesome. They look really good. It looks smooth, it looks powerful. Yeah, that looks good.
This is really, really exciting, and I expected them to be good, but I expected it to be close. So we're coming up to the last 200 metres, and really unbelievable what we're seeing. I mean, we've seen such close racing in this discipline over the last few years, but at the moment there is nothing close about this race, with Germany really stamping down the authority on this. The Slovakians now in lane 6 are coming back. They want a medal, so do Hungary in lane 5 and Australia in lane 3. At the moment though, it is Germany who is still with the lead. Slovakia looking strong. Have they got enough to come back on the Germans? There's 50 metres left to go. Germany still looking smooth. The technique starting to wane a little bit, but what a performance from the Germans to take gold here in Racice, with the Australians taking the silver medal right at the last minute away from Slovakia, who come through for the bronze medal. And how do you sum up something like that?
I think they're going to be very happy with that. They went out very hard and they just kept that lead. If anything, they were gaining. The Aussies did have a very good finish still, but they couldn't quite catch those Germans. I think the Hungarians just missed out on a medal there. They were 4th maybe.
And we've seen Germany, Hungary, nations like that dominate the sport of canoe sprint for a long time, but to see what Germany in particular have produced this weekend, especially in men's racing. It's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they've got a great combination you need for the 1,000-metre K4 there. You've got the speed, you've got the endurance, you've got the power, and it worked really well. And I guess, was that their first outing this year?
It's the first outing that I've seen, definitely.
So I think that's...
We have the Germans and the Australians congratulating each other.
That's nice to see. It's always good to see when the different teams get on well and the respect at the end of the race.
So Australia, of course, are the reigning Olympic champions, but only Jacob Clear remains in this crew. They won gold in Duisburg last week, and they take silver today behind Germany. And they have it 2:54.065, the winning time for Germany. Nearly 2 seconds behind were Australia. Slovakia did take the bronze medal, with Hungary taking fourth. The two Czech crews very, very close indeed, with taking fifth and sixth. And Hungary, the second Hungarian crew, took seventh. Argentina's Daniel Dalbo, Juan Cáceres, Ignacio and Gonzalo Cáceres and Pablo de Torres taking eighth. And Kazakhstan's Alexander Yemelyanov, Alexei Durganov, Andrei Yugachov and Ilya Goldanov finishing in ninth place.
Yeah, that was a very good race. Exciting.
So very shortly we will have the A final of the women's K4 500 metres, with some big names, some big crews in that one as well. And hopefully that will match the excitement of the men's K4000. We do have a German crew in that, a good combination crew again. And later on we'll also have the men's C1 500 and the men's K1 500 metres as well. But first of all, we will see the medal ceremony for the men's C1 200 metres. And the medals will be presented by the ICF Vice President Isvan Vaskuti, alongside the team leader of Kazakhstan. And there you have the bronze medalist from Germany, Stefan Kirai. He's got adding to the handful of World Cup medals he already has in this event. And second place went to Qiang Li of China, who possibly lost out by just a small mistake coming out of the start buckets. He was lagging behind after the first few strokes, but came back to finish within a whisker, just 0.2 of a second, of the gold medalist, and that's Timur Haydarov of Kazakhstan. He won silver in the C2 200 metres yesterday, paddling with Mary Medvedov. And his partner also finished ninth in this race. He was fifth in Duisburg last week, but steps up here in Racice to take the gold. And he was one very, very happy man coming over the finish line, that's for sure. That's Timur Haydarov of Kazakhstan. So Hayley Mason from the Great Britain Canoe Sprint team is alongside me in the commentary box this morning. Hayley, what has impressed you most so far?
I think that men's K4, to be honest with you, the German K4 winning there in style, and obviously a very good medal for Liam Heath, gold medal in the K1 200. It's always good to see one of your teammates getting the gold medal.
Yeah, it is really hard to sort of take away from that German K4 performance. I've not seen sort of such a dominant performance as that for a good long time. And we've got the women's K4 500 metres coming up. I think you've probably got good memories of racing here in K4, haven't you, Racice? Did you get a medal a few years ago?
Yeah, got a medal, got silver, I think, in 2010 or 11. So yeah, good memories here. I do like this course, it's very nice. It's like usually fast times when it's a tailwind, so yeah, I like it.
Women's K4 500 metres, just 5 minutes away. We've already seen some gold medals earlier on, as we said, from the German K4. It was Moldova who took gold in the men's C2000, with Kazakhstan, as we've just seen, taking the gold in the C1 200. Gold for Liam Heath as well from Great Britain in the K1 200, and Ina Osipenko-Radomska of Azerbaijan taking first place in the women's K1 500. Coming after the women's K4 500, there will just be 2 races left from the finals programme for this morning, which will be the men's C1 500 and the men's K1 500 metres. So for you, Hayley, what's next for you after this World Cup this weekend?
So I've got training still, so go back to my club and try and maybe get selected for the Europeans this year, and then just do some fun events. I'm hoping to try and go to the Cellar in Spain with our club, so it'd be good to do some different events. I've never raced there before, so looking forward to that.
Have you done much marathon racing and longer distance racing, no sort of adventure fun racing like that before?
Not really. I did marathon when I was a junior, so I've medalled at that, but I've not done it so much when I've been a senior, so it'll be good fun, I think.
And this last season, over the winter, you've taken the choice to go back and train with your club. How's that worked out for you?
For me, it was just I went back to where I was from, and I was happier at home and got a great club. Like, it's a really good club in Nottingham, so, and I've enjoyed our training group there. We've obviously got the Norm Plan, which is obviously promoted on social media, and we've just got a great fun group and lots of different events. So we've got sprint, marathon, whitewater paddlers, so no, it's really good.
The Norm Plan being named after your father, Norman Mason, I assume?
Yep, that's right.
So there we have the start list for the A final of the women's K4 500 metres. We're just a couple of minutes away now from this start. Out in lane 1 will be the crew from Argentina. That's Maria Magdalena Garro, Brenda Royas, Sabrina Ines Emegino, Alexandra Bobala Karestesi. They went well. Two of those Argentinian athletes went really well in the K2 200 yesterday. So got some power in that boat. There we have the French crew in lane 2. Manon Hostens, Amandine Lott, Leah Jamelot and Sarah Troll. They made the European World and European Games finals last year. And alongside them from New Zealand, a crew of Jamie Lovett, Caitlin Ryan, Amy Fisher and Kayla Imrie. Caitlin Ryan, and Lovett and Fisher won gold in the K2 200 metres yesterday with an absolutely storming race, leading from start to finish. So more power in that boat as well.
Yeah, the New Zealand girls are very good at the 200 metre distance.
Then out in lane 4, that's the Chinese crew of Wenjun Ren, King Ma, Yui Li and Haiping Liu. It's 3/4 of the crew that won a gold medal at the Under-23 World Championships a couple of years ago. And alongside them in the central lane, the fastest qualifiers by 2 seconds in a time of 1:35.968. That is Ukraine.
They looked good last week in Duisburg.
They did, yeah, gold medalists last week in Duisburg. Then in lane 6 from Denmark, Emmy Jorgensen, Amelie Thompson, Ida Willemsen and Henrietta Hansen. They finished 6th in Duisburg last week. And that's the Chinese crew in lane 4. Duisburg. And here we have the German crew. We saw the men's squad paddle away from the field in the men's K4000 earlier on. What have this German crew got up their sleeve? Dietzer and Weber were second, and Herring and Kriegerstein fourth in the K2 500 yesterday, and the A final of the women's K4 500 metres is underway, and it was a strong start from New Zealand and Ukraine as well.
Yeah, that New Zealand boat always have a very good start. They get out the blocks so fast. And the Ukraine K4 as well.
So currently looks like New Zealand just have an inch or two of a lead over Ukraine, but China are battling their way back, and also looking good is Germany. And, Germany now powering their way up towards the front. Ukraine looking strong. New Zealand just dipping back. It's great to see this New Zealand crew paddling so well. I've seen some videos on YouTube and on Facebook of their training, and they just look very, very comfortable together in the boat. Very smooth.
No, it's good on social media these days. You see lots of the training, and they put up some really cool videos.
Okay, there's 200 metres left to go. Germany are nosing their way into the lead over Ukraine. New Zealand now back in third place. China still very much there and in contention for the medals. It's Ukraine against Germany. Ukraine winning gold in Duisburg last week.
It's very tight.
It's going to be extremely close. They're coming into the last 100 metres. Ukraine look like they have a little bit extra. They definitely had a fantastic finish we saw in Duisburg last week. At the moment, there is absolutely nothing to separate these two crews. Germany taking the lead? It's so difficult to tell. They are absolutely going stroke for stroke here. And this is what K4 racing is all about. I think it was the Ukraine that took gold ahead of Germany, but that was impossible to call.
I couldn't call that. That was such head-to-head racing. It was awesome. No, I couldn't call it. It's too close. But the New Zealand crew came through for the bronze medal, I think, there.
So here we have the photo finish. Possibly Germany took that. Well, I just have to wait for the judges, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to call, I think, for the judges.
And a completely different story from the men's K4 earlier, but what a race.
I think it's the first time the German crew have raced over 500 this year, the women. Is it?
Yeah, they didn't race. This crew didn't race in Duisburg last week anyway. Of course, Weber and Dietzer, they were part of the crew that won bronze at the World Championships last year, silver at London 2012. They're teaming up with the younger K2 pair of Herring and Kriegerstein. And as we saw there, we can just saw the New Zealanders powering out of the start buckets.
Yeah, Weber and Dietz have been in the crew now for quite a few years, so there's a lot of experience there. So
they took a look across to their right.
I don't think they know either.
I don't think they know, but I think they're exhausted. Hopefully get some results from that women's A final very, very soon. Oh. It was given to Germany, the gold medal, by 100th of a second.
That's
with Ukraine taking the silver. Wow. And it was New Zealand, of course, that took the bronze. Denmark with the fourth place. They'll be very happy with that, I should think. France taking fifth. China in sixth. Kazakhstan seventh. Argentina in 8th and China in 9th. 134.066, so not particularly quick times out there.
No, I think there is a slight headwind out there, so.
But just 100th of a second. I mean, we've seen closer racing. I mean, we've seen joint medals, we've seen joint positions over the last couple of weeks, but that's absolutely fantastic. So Ukraine taking a silver after winning gold last week, and it's gold for Germany's Dietzer, Weber, Kriegerstein and Herring. Pairing up with the men's K4, who quite triumphantly took gold in the men's K4 1,000 metres a little bit earlier on. So just 2.5 months to go to Rio now. And I know the GB team not quite selected yet. Have you been out to Rio to do any training camps out there?
We go to a holding camp, where the holding camp's going to be in Belo Horizonte, and it's really nice out there. And we actually took a trip to Rio last year on the way back to just see the lake, and no one's paddled on the lake apart from Johnny Schofield, so he went and tried it out this year. So Yeah, no, it's a really nice place. Like, Rio is amazing. I really love the place, so I think that it's going to be good this year.
And could you tell that the city was building up to an Olympic Games? Was as much of a buzz about it when you went to visit?
Yeah, there's definitely a buzz there, and the lake was still getting ready. You know, all the stuff was going up, so that was last year. So it'll be good to see what it's going to look like this year.
And what do you think are Great Britain's targets for Rio? I mean, there's got to be medals involved in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're looking for medals from the girls and the men's team. So, and that's what they're aiming for too. So we've obviously got 4 girl spots and 2 spots in the men's 200 metres. So, I mean, the team's not officially announced until June, but yeah.
Certainly, Johnny Schofield and Liam Heath have really made their mark this weekend with a bronze in the K2 200, Liam getting a gold in the K1 200 as well. So fantastic for Great Britain this weekend.
Yeah, I think they'll be very happy with that, and they'll go back now, more training up until the Europeans, and then go from there, I think.
So we have just seen the A final of the women's K4 500 metres, which was won by Germany by just 1/100th of a second ahead of Ukraine, with New Zealand, a very powerful New Zealand crew, taking the bronze medal. And just 2 races left in the finals racing this morning. We will have the A final of the men's C1 500 metres, and that will be followed very closely by the A final of the men's K1 500 metres. That's looking like an exciting one. We've got the world's best time holder, Adam van Koveren, going out there in the K1 500 metre A final. He'll also be coming up against René Poulsen of Denmark, the reigning world champion in K1 500.
Yeah, it's good to see some of the 1,000 metre boys in the 500. I think last week the programme was too tight for them to do that, so I think they'll be happy they can do both this weekend.
And for you, do you enjoy racing? Do you enjoy doubling up in racing? Is it the more racing the better for you?
Yeah, I think you train so much that when it gets to the races you want to do as many races as you can, so, and there's not many to do in the year, so yeah, definitely. And I think across like the men's and women's, there's now the 5k, there's 200 metres, so a lot of people do all of the distances now. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that 5k later on. That'll be really good. We'll also got in a few moments' time the men's C1 500 metre final. We saw Sergei Tarnowski and Oleg Tarnowski of Moldova take gold in the men's C2 1,000 metres just a few moments ago, about half an hour ago now, and they will be going in the A final of the men's C1 500, and they're lining up alongside each other as they did in Duisburg last week. So can one of them add a second gold medal? Also,
not much recovery time there from the 1,000.
No, it's been really impressive to see a lot of athletes step up and perform really well. The Chinese K2, for example, did the 200 and 500 yesterday, and they came back in the 200 and got a silver medal. So it's been really impressive. That's really stood out for me this weekend. But also in that men's C1 500, we've got Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic, bronze medalist in the C1 1000 yesterday, reigning world and European champion in the C1 500. So it'll be really, really exciting to see him battling it out with the 18-year-old Sergei Tarnowski, who's the reigning junior world champion over C1 1000, won gold in Duisburg last week.
Yeah, the Czech Republic C1 guy is very good over 200, 500 and 1,000.
So if you missed the racing yesterday, there was a lot more medals happening yesterday as well. In the women's K1 1,000 metre A final, it was Tamara Takac of Hungary that took gold, just ahead of Rebecca Simon of Great Britain, 19-year-old, who took the silver, with Irene Bergo of Italy in bronze. And another Great Britain athlete there, a youngster as well, coming up through the ranks. It's exciting to see what she's going to be able to do in the future. Yeah,
I think both Rebecca and Tamara are both the same age, aren't they? So very young athletes winning senior medals there. Rebby's come up through the ranks and she's come into the seniors very well last year, so yeah, exciting prospect for the future.
So those athletes probably well used to being right next to each other, being rivals, and now moving up into seniors and being rivals as well. Also a big race yesterday and a big win for Sebastian Brendel of Germany, who followed up his gold in Duisburg last week with yet another gold over the C1 1000. Just seems absolutely unbeatable in that event, which is where you want to be ahead of Rio, 2.5 months to go.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting to see whether Sebastian Brendel can defend his Olympic title from London 2012 in Rio this summer. Sergei Tarnovsky, who we saw took gold in the C2000 earlier, he won silver in the C1000, and it was Martin Fuchser, the reigning under-23 world champion, who took the bronze in that C1 1000. And there was a big race as well in the men's K1 1000. A lot of big names in this one. We didn't see Adam van Koveren race in Duisburg last week. He was away racing at the Pan American Championships, where he won the K1000 and qualified his spot for Rio. He came in to race this weekend here in Racice. Didn't manage to make it into the medals. But in just a few moments' time, we will have the A final of the men's C1 500 metres. You can see the start list there up on the screen. As I mentioned, Oleg Tarnovsky and Sergei Tarnovsky in those central lanes of Moldova, the two brothers. And really exciting to see who's going to prevail in that family affair. So in lane 1 in this men's C1 500 metres A final from Azerbaijan, that's Alexei Kupin, a former European bronze medalist in this event as a junior. That was back in 2013. We saw the power that both Oleg and Sergei Tarnovsky had over the start of that C2000 metres. So I think we can expect exciting things out of the blocks from them this afternoon. Adrian Bart of France out in lane 2.
It looks like there's still a woman going around there, warming up.
I'm wondering whether things are being held a little bit. We do have 3 minutes to go till the start of the A final of the men's C1 500 metres. And then in lane 3, in that green boat, that's Sergei Yemelyanov of Kazakhstan. Won bronze in Duisburg last week, a former junior world champion in C1000. And the reigning world and European champion in this event will be out in lane 4. That's Martin Fuchs of the Czech Republic. On the screens at the moment, that's Oleg Tarnovsky, who is the world silver medalist in this event last year, so coming second behind Martin Fuchser. And then in lane 6, the younger brother, Sergei Tarnovsky of Moldova, the reigning junior world champion in C1 1000 metres, the fastest qualifier in this final as well, 1 minute 56.247. Can he pick up his 3rd medal of the weekend?
We stepped up well there into the seniors from last year.
Yeah, still 18, just 18. And then you have in lane 8, Denis Kovalenko of Ukraine, multiple medalist at the Europeans and Worlds in the C4000, making the transition into the C1. And out in lane 9, Krzysztof Zoltan-Żabo from Hungary. So the men's C1 500 metres coming forward into the start buckets. What do you think the conditions are looking like now? Do you think it's settled down a little bit? The flags look like they're not blowing quite as much as we saw from the finals, an hour or so ago.
Yeah, it doesn't look quite as windy out there, a bit flatter. The canoes will probably be happy with that.
Yeah, hopefully some fair racing. You can see the ripples on the water do look like they're going across, which is good to see. Going up the course, sorry. So they're out of the buckets and underway in this A final of the men's C1 500 metres. All the focus at the moment is on that pair of brothers in the central lanes, in the matching boats as well. The white boats with the red nose. And they're powering forward, but Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic just edging himself into a lead over the Tarnovskys and over Yemelyanov of Kazakhstan. And Fuchser, of course, the world and European champion in this event. He's the one to beat. But Sergei Tarnovsky certainly has been showing big improvements coming up through the junior ranks. It's Oleg Tarnovsky, the older brother at the moment, who's going with Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic. But Fuchser really keen to put down a big performance in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, he'll be getting a lot of support from the home crowd here, which does always help.
You can hear the whistles and the bells going already. They're coming through the 200-metre mark now. Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic in the lead. Oleg Tarnovsky is holding on in there. Sergei Tarnovsky is surging up forward with Sergei Yemelyanov of Kazakhstan in the green boat slipping back. Still with Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic. What has Sergei Tarnovsky got in the tank? What reply has he got to Martin Fuchser, who went out so strongly? Oleg Tarnovsky is still in the bronze medal position, but Yemelyanov of Kazakhstan is there. They're into the red buoy area. There's less than 100 metres to go, and it looks like Sergei Tarnovsky has surged himself into a lead. Does Martin Fuchser have a reply? Has he kept anything left for this last 30 metres of the race? It doesn't look like he has. Fuchser has dropped back. It will be Sergei Tarnovsky that takes the gold. Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic who takes silver, and Oleg Tarnovsky of Moldova who take the bronze. And straight away the brothers go over to each other, crawl up next to each other and congratulate each other.
That's so sweet.
On a gold and bronze for the Tarnovsky brothers in this men's C1 500 metres. As soon as they crossed the line, they looked over and absolutely exhausted. That's Oleg Tarnovsky, you can see in the blue top.
Very good finish from the younger brother there.
And a great start as well. And really pleasing to see Oleg as well come up and take a medal in that. We saw him get sixth in the event in Duisburg last week, having gone pretty much nose to nose with his brother all the way down the course. Sergei went on to take gold, but Oleg finished just sixth. So now two medals for them, with Martin Fuchser coming out of the blocks very, very strongly, but had no reply to that finish from Sergei Tarnovsky. So he won silver in the C1000 yesterday. Those brothers took gold in the C2000. There you have it, 1:50.003, the winning time for Sergei Tarnovsky, almost a second behind Martin Fuchser of the Czech Republic. Oleg Tarnovsky of Moldova takes the bronze medal.
Yeah, I thought the Martin Fuchser might hold on for the win there, but seemed to just slow down a bit in the last 50 metres.
And straight away we will have the A final of the men's K1 500 metres. You see the start list up on the screen there. I've already mentioned Adam van Koveden, world champion in this event back in 2007, Olympic champion in 2004. On our screens now we have Mohamed Ali Mrabit of Tunisia, who won the B final in Duisburg and qualified a spot in Rio, winning the K1000 at the African Championships earlier this year. Alongside him in lane 2 will be Serbia's Vladimir Torubarov. Really good crew boat paddler, winning medals at the under-23 and senior worlds in Seed 2000 a couple of years back. And there we have in the foreground Oleg Kuharik of Ukraine, just 19 years old. Adam van Koveden of Canada, hijacking an Australian K1. And that's Lars Magne Ulvang of Norway out in that green boat in lane 4. In lane 5 we just saw Oleg Kuharik of Ukraine, gold medalist in this event in Duisburg last week. And another man to beat alongside him will be Rene Poulsen of Denmark, the fastest qualifier in this men's K1 500 metres A final. 1:41.404 his time from the semi-finals yesterday. 8th place. In lane 8, Angus Mortimer of Canada. Race K4 at the Olympic Games in Beijing back in 2008. And as they come up into the start buckets, lane 9 will be Tamas Samorac of Hungary, who won bronze in the K2 500s at the Worlds last year. So this is the final, A-final of the morning session. And they're underway. It's a great start from Lars Magne Ulvang in the green boat of Norway, out in lane 4. René Poulsen of Denmark has got out of the blocks very, very quickly as well. And over the first few metres, though, it's Vladimir Terubarov of Serbia who has got himself a nice lead out there in lane 2. He's looking very strong.
Yeah, really strong start from him there.
And René Poulsen, of course, doing very well. He just took a little look over to his right-hand side. René Poulsen now surging forward and closing down that lead at the front by Terubarov. As a 500-metre paddler, Hayley, what's the race plan? What goes through your mind at this early stages of the race coming up to the halfway line?
I think it's just you want to get out hard, but then get into your rhythm, and then the race starts from 200 to go. I think sometimes you see people going too hard and then like dying in the last few bits, but I think René's a very good 500-metre paddler. But that Ukrainian guy also looks like he's going well. Obviously last week he got gold, so.
And the race is on in those central lanes. René Poulsen of Denmark paddling himself into a slight lead over Ole Kuharik of Ukraine. That's lanes 5 and 6 alongside each other. Also going really well. Still out in lane 2, Serbia's Vladimir Terubarov. Who else has got an answer to this? They're down into the last 70 or 80 metres now of the race. René Poulsen of Denmark has half a boat length's lead. Terubarov of Serbia coming out along strongly. Has he moved into the silver medal position? Has Kuharik moved back? As they come towards the finish line, it will be, oh my goodness, it's gold for René Poulsen of Denmark. It's silver for Vladimir Terubarov of Serbia, but Ole Kuharik of Ukraine, I believe that was in lane 5, yes, falls in just before the finish line. His nose didn't make it to the finish line before going into the water.
No.
How gutting for that athlete.
Yeah, because he was in a medal position, wasn't he? Oh, poor guy.
And how can this sort of thing happen? Is that just the tiredness?
Yeah, I think like when your legs go, you just lose it a bit and just miss the It looks like he's definitely gone in before the line, hasn't he? So
yeah.
Disappointing for him.
So it will be Adam van Koveden of Canada who comes through to take the bronze medal after a real disappointment from Ole Kuharik falling in just before the finish line. He was in the bronze medal position, but great performance from René Poulsen of Denmark. And I think, would you say he's probably one of the most consistent athletes out there at the moment?
Yeah, he's going really well, and I think he's world champion last year. He'll be looking probably to do this, like win in Rio, and he's a very good 500-metre paddler and 1,000-metre paddler. So, and he makes it look effortless when he paddles. So yeah, I think he'll be happy with that.
So 1:37.629, the winning time for René Poulsen of Denmark in this men's K1 500-metre race. Silver went to Vladimir Terubarov of Serbia, with Adam van Koveden of Canada taking the bronze. It was Tamas Samorac of Hungary that took 4th. 5th was Norway's Lars Magne Ulvang. He had a fantastic start. Not quite enough to hold on for a medal, though. And Lukas Trefil of the Czech Republic finishing in 6th. 7th place for Angus Mortimer of Canada, with Mohamed Ali Mrabit of Tunisia finishing in 8th. And a real disappointment for Ole Kuharik. Gold in Duisburg last week, but it's made it all through all the rounds, through the heats, the semis and the finals until the last metre, and falls in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he's going to be very disappointed with that because he was on for a medal. So, but that happens in kayaking and canoeing sometimes.
And really exciting to see the big names out there in the non-Olympic event, don't you think?
Yeah, I think there's still very high. It's very high standard in the non-Olympic events, like the World Cups and the Europeans and the World Championships. So, yeah, I think obviously René got a medal in the K1000 yesterday, and now he's won the K1 500. So. And Adam van Koveden is a very good 500-metre paddler, so he'll be happy with bronze, I think.
And also these sort of non-Olympic distances, good for blooding young talent as well, giving the youngsters, the development squads, an opportunity to race at this level against the big names.
Yeah, definitely. I think because it's still great experience if you're, say, 18, 19, first year seniors, second year seniors. There's still, like, you get to race like awesome athletes still. So the 19-year-old there, the Ukrainian guy, he's still getting to race René Paulsen. So.
But would you think it's perhaps quite daunting for younger athletes? I mean, when you were first coming up through the junior ranks into seniors, did you have this experience at World Cups, and what were your sort of early thoughts racing against those big names?
I think I kind of went straight into the K4 500, but like last week in Duisburg, we sent some of our juniors raced, and Deborah Kerr raced in the K1 500, and she said that even though, she was racing Danusia Kozak and Lisa Carrington, but she said it was awesome, like she loved it. So I think it could be daunting, but I think most of the time they're just excited to race their idols or people they've seen racing on the TV. So I think it is a great experience.
So we're now going to have the medal ceremony for the men's K4 1,000 metres. And the medals for this one will be presented by Simon Tolson, who is the Secretary General of the International Canoe Federation. And that will be alongside the team leader from Germany. So stepping up to take the bronze is the Slovakian team of Juraj Tar, Denis Majsak, Tibor Linka and Erik Vulcek. The reigning world champions, beaten into the bronze today by Australia and Germany.
I think this is going to be a close race come Rio.
And this, to be honest, this was probably the race of the day, if not the weekend for me. What would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Like the German boat there, I think. I guess the other guys would have expected them to be good, but...
Stepping up to take the silver medal from Australia, Kenny Wallace, Jacob Clear, Jordan Wood and Riley Fitzsimmons. A brilliant finish from them, as we saw similarly with the men's K2 1,000 metres, which was Kenny Wallace again alongside Lockie Tame.
Yeah, and I think these days there's so many younger guys and girls under 23s there you've seen that stepping up into this senior level, so and getting medals as well, so I think they'll be very happy with that. I know the Aussies probably would have wanted gold, but still to be on the medal podium at another World Cup is good.
And stepping up to take that gold medal, they'd stretched out a lead of almost a boat length before a last-minute attack by Australia. But it is the Germans who take gold. That's Markus Gross, Max Hoff, Tom Liebscher and Max Rentschmidt as well. And that's another gold medal going into the German trophy cabinet this weekend. And what a weekend they've had, especially the men's squad. Rentschmidt and Gross also taking gold in the K2 1,000 metres yesterday. Liebscher a gold with Ronald Rauer in the K2 200. And Max Hoff, silver medalist in the K1 1000 as well. And we did just see Ronald Rauer take a silver medal in the K1 200.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're trying it out for Rio because I don't know what the programme is there, but obviously there is more days like there to race over, so I'm guessing they're testing it out for that. That's what my thought would be. But
I think the plan is for Rio, and don't hold me to this, but I think the schedule for Rio is that the K4s will be towards the end of the week, which means athletes that are racing K1s, K2s can double up, and that means we'll have more boats on the start line in the crew boats.
Yeah, it's always good when they can double up. Makes it more exciting. Going for the selfie there.
We've got a few people to get in that one, but
it's always hard to get all the K4 athletes in.
Yeah, that's definitely one for the profile picture, I'd say.
Yeah. It's always good to see the podium selfies go up on Instagram and Twitter. So.
So one of the standout races of the weekend, the Germans just dominating the K4 1,000 metres. So we've got a lot more racing coming up this afternoon after these A finals have finished. And is there anything sort of specifically that you're excited about seeing this afternoon? You know, the Olympic distances are kind of over now.
Yeah, I think they brought into the programme now the K4 men and women's 200 metres, which is we did it last year, and it's just fun, like not so much pressure, and it's just a fun event, and it's over so fast that there's not much time to think. So I think that's really good, and obviously we've got the 5Ks as well. We've got Lani Belch from Britain going in the 5K, so that's always exciting as well. So.
Am I right in thinking that you are European medalist in K4 200 metres?
Yep, we are, and then we got a medal last year at the Duisburg World Cup as well, so it's always fun to do.
So what are your memories of, you know, that European race and being on the podium as well?
I think, yeah, we were quite young when that happened, and we just couldn't really believe it. It was just a massive shock, and we actually didn't even pack our podium tracksuits, so one of the girls ended up wearing one of the coach's trousers, which was quite funny, so it's all exciting.
That's never the attitude. That's never the attitude. So yeah, as Hayley was saying, the K4 200 metres will be raced here in Racice later this afternoon once this programme of finals has finished. And we'll also have the C4 200 metres as well, women's C2 500. We will have the 5K racing for the men's K1 5000 and C1, men's C1 and women's K1 as well. So we'll now have the victory ceremony for the women's K1 500 metres.
I think that's a very good performance from the young Danish girl there as well, getting a bronze medal.
Yes, that was Emma Jorgensen who took the bronze in the women's K1 500.
She's a multiple gold medal at juniors, so it's not a complete surprise to see her stepping up for a senior medal.
Yeah, 2013 and 2014, Jorgensen of Denmark was junior world and European champion in both the K1 200 and K1 500.
Yeah.
And this race, did this impress you? Did it live up to your expectations, this women's K1 500 metres final this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. Obviously the medals have come from lanes 1 and 2 as well, so I think Martina Slovakia had a very good start, but then Ozapenko just led from start to finish, so she's in good form. She's obviously a gold medalist from Beijing, medalist at London, so she knows what to do on the big occasions.
Yeah, will be 5 Olympic Games, Ozapenko, this summer in Rio, will be her 5th. That's Yu Zhao of China, stepping up to take the silver medal in the women's K1 500 metres, 5th in Duisburg last week, silver medal for her now. And the gold medalist here in Racice at the ICF Canoe Sprint World Cup from Azerbaijan, Ina Ostapenko-Radomska, Olympic champion 8 years ago, back in 2008 in this event, world champion in this event in 2010, and made her mark from the start to the finish, and always seems to just peak just at the right time. The games are coming up.
Yeah, she looks strong there.
And you can see the determination as well.
Yeah.
The teeth gritted. It's always interesting to see the different looks on people's faces. Some people just seem so calm.
Yeah, I think I just look scary. Yeah, some people look smooth and some people grit their teeth, but everyone wants the same thing.
My memory is of Adam van Koveren at the Olympic Games last year. Just seems so calm and looks around. So finally for you, Hayley, just summing up this afternoon, these last 2 days of racing, what's been the big standout performance for you? What's really caught your eye?
I think definitely the men's K4000 and really like the men's K1 200 metres. They were most exciting races for me, but just seeing this year everyone has massively stepped up in the Olympic year, as it always happens, and it's great racing to see.
And as you say, next thing for you, hopefully some fun racing in the cellar and things like that?
Yeah, I think so. Just enjoy what I've been doing, all the hard work. So yeah, just enjoy it a bit more.
So a big highlight of the morning was the gold medal for Germany in that men's K4 1,000 metres. But that is it from us. Thank you very much to Hayley Mason from the Great Britain Canoe Sprint team for her expertise on commentary this morning. Thank you very much to you for joining us as well for what has been a thrilling weekend of racing here at the ICF Canoe Sprint World Cup in Racice.